Thanks for staying with us. So once in a while, we like to bring in eminent personalities to share with us their views on the state of the nation. So this morning, joining us on the show is the 12th primate of the African Church, Primate Julius Osayande Abe. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
Today, he'll be sharing his views on issues of insecurity, restructuring, 2023 general elections, poverty, and unemployment in the country. You can join the conversation by calling us on 081-270-53687 and also 091-390-7698. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. Lots of people, eminent personalities across the country have been expressing their views and thoughts on the issue of insecurity. And sometimes it's always good to hear various perspectives. I mean, even in the papers this morning, the Catholic bishops were saying that the country is bleeding. You know, many have said that we need to restructure. Others are saying we can't restructure at this time. In your view, what do you make of the issue of insecurity and what the country and what the government is doing to begin to help to curb and reduce this this huge problem we have in this country?
Yes, thank you very much. The issue of insecurity affects everybody, the young, the old, the rich, and the poor. Everybody is affected. So it's something that should be of importance to every one of us. That's why everybody is discussing it. That's why everybody is crying out that we are not safe in this country. And let's look at it. The way the whole thing is right now is really, really disturbing because you can't really move from one place to another and feel secured. You can't do any business and feel secured about it, doing anything at all in this country. So it's so worrisome, so disturbing. And this is one of the issues that should be of great concern to the government because when lives and property are not safe, are not secured, then what is the business of government? We should ask ourselves. So the government should take it as a priority.
Okay. Before I move to the ladies, people have complained about the involvement of bishops and religious leaders into the issue of politics. You know, what's the difference between church and state? People have criticized many notable men of God out there for getting involved in politics. Do you think you're supposed to be part of it or you stay out of it?
We are Nigerians, and anything that happens in Nigeria affects everybody. You should feel concerned. So if you are not concerned, then, sorry, anything can happen. Then you don't have anybody to blame.
So we had someone who worked with DSS, used to work with the DSS, and he said to us that concerning the insecurity in our country, it's not really about the physical, like we see people bombing. It's also like what we do to each other, like the way what we say to each other, the sort of biases that we may have, you know, towards each other, and that is what may be fueling it. And sometimes we wonder if the church, you know, and the leaders of the church, is there a rhetoric that is there something that we say to our congregation, to our people, that is fueling this? In our own way, we think we may be protecting a particular sect, we may be protecting a particular people, but on the whole, it is fueling these differences and causing the violence that's happening amongst us.
Yes, the person you mentioned might be true. I'm saying the truth, that sometimes little things that we do or we say may precipitate this kind of violence that we have in our hands now. But at the same time, we are talking about these insecurity on a global scale, the way it is in Nigeria right now. Yes, I agree that as religious leaders, we have a duty, a responsibility to ensure that our followers, those who are under our administration, so to say, we make sure that we put them on the right track. Let them do what is right all the time. You know, say what is right all the time and think right all the time. These are some of the responsibilities that we have as religious leaders.
Let me try to rephrase what Mariam was saying also, because we've seen some religious leaders who have almost they actually almost incite their congregation to hate, to disrupt things that are happening based on their utterances. So the question, therefore, is that what can we do? Is that the right thing to do at this time? Because we've seen the role various religious bodies have played in the past years. In your view, do you think it's the right thing to do at this time?
Well, I may not say it's right or wrong, because these things are, have to do with emotions. The people that are talking are emotional about it.
Right.
When they expect certain things to be done by government and they're not finding these things done.
Right.
So they get enraged, they get, disturbed, and, I think the best thing is to speak out. And maybe by the time the people concerned hear this, they will do the needful.
Okay, so I feel that Nigeria is one of the most religious countries in the world. Every leader, every governor is a member of one congregation or the other. Yeah. Our vice president is in one congregation. Our president is probably in another Muslim congregation, and that spreads across. So at the end of the day, the attacks have come to the Christendom, and the statements are like, we have churches at every street. We have churches 5 minutes walk from everybody, and yet, why don't we have holiness? Why don't we have selflessness? Why don't we have service as our culture when we have so many churches? So don't you think that rather than the religious leaders blaming the government, they should blame themselves, because they are the ones that are meant to entrench the right values into the congregation? They had charge of the congregation from when they were young till they grew up.
Okay. You see, I want us to look at it this way. Now, all of us should be grateful to God that we even have religious settings in this country. Nigeria is a very, very religious country, and we have religious people there. I want you to think otherwise. If, for instance, there is no religiosity, there is no church, there's no mosque, there's nowhere people can hear the words of God, I want you to just imagine if people are not having the opportunity of listening to the words of God, what the country will be if compared to what it is right now. So I know that, yes, there are some religious institutions or some religious bodies that are not doing it right. But at the same time, we have quite a number of churches and mosques that are really preaching the gospel, preaching the message to their congregation. And if...
I wanted to disagree with you there, but they will call me a pagan today, and I don't have any fight in me.
No.
But I want to ask you this question, because I know that even from the times of old, that's going back to the Old Testament, we had prophets who were speaking directly to the kings. They would hear from God, and they would speak to the kings. And I'm one of those people that believe that the religious leaders are not even doing enough when it comes to the country Nigeria. How best do you think that you can play in that field? How best do you think that you can advise our leaders to do what is right for and by Nigerians? How best do you think you can get involved in telling the truth and not just, collecting envelopes and they come and do Thanksgiving and when it's time for election, they come to church and everything? How best do you think we can start hearing you speak on behalf of the people of Nigeria?
You see, it is one thing to have religious bodies, organizations speaking the truth, advising the government or people in government. It is another thing for the people in government to have listening ears as well. You see, when you tell them what they need to know, what they need to do, and they refuse to, and they feel, away with this man, he's not one of us. You see, that's where the problem is. So I think the religious organizations, the religious bodies are doing their best, although they could do more, they could do better.
All right, let's come to the issue of restructuring. Many people have, because part of the problem is it seems as if everybody is talking about regional autonomy here, resource control there, decentralization of power and all that. And people are just going on and on about these things. In your view, What are your thoughts on the issue of restructuring? Is it required, or must we stay as one and still have that central power? Or do you think Nigeria to begin to think of how we can change our system of government?
The problem this country is having today, emanates from the Constitution. If the Constitution is refined, so to say, and it is rewritten, I'm sure all these things will be taken care of. You see, it's better for us to, in my own view, for us to be together as a country, but to devolve powers to the different regions so that they can develop at their own pace. We have practiced it in the past, and it worked. And I believe strongly that if we do it again, it will work.
Well, let me take it to the cases where we have the governors have power within their own states, and we've had some governors use the power well. We might not like we might not be pleased with the entirety of how it was deployed, but there's been development in some states. And then you see some states that it seems that the governors are bereft of ideas. Now, if you give more power to such people to manage resources and all of that, what would be would it get any better? Because they already have capacity to manage the one they have, and they haven't done well with it.
You see, when we say restructuring, power goes to the grassroots. To the grassroots. The local government should be empowered more. When the local government are empowered more, then you have a better feel of this governance amongst the people, because they are closer to the people. I'm not talking of the states now, but to the grassroots.
Yeah, so I know that we've heard, not that I know, we've heard in the papers, there are different groups that want to divide from Nigeria's secession. And there are different factions talking about it because somehow they feel marginalized. Now, what do you think the federal government can do to bring everybody together? So it's one thing to say we are stronger united. It's another thing to show that we are really united. So what do you think the federal government can start doing to help settle the other parts that feel they have been marginalized so that they can stay?
Yes. It's very simple. I think there was a time we had a referendum where people came together to express their views on how this country should be governed. And the papers are there, the reports are there. The government should go back to those reports and act accordingly. I'm sure if they do this, they will address the yearnings of everyone agitating for secession or separation or whatever.
Sir, with all that we're going through, the violence, there's an arm of this violence, which is the kidnapping and banditry, where they're taking children and they are demanding money for them. Many people have given excuses for it. Oh, it's our government. We are poor. We don't have work. And it's as if there's a hunger for wealth that you do not earn, And for me, I like to look at it from before it became this way. What was the church saying? What were we teaching our children when they would come to church? What was the church celebrating? Who were the sort of people that were celebrating, that people are looking up to? How did we bring Nigerians to the point where money, however you make it, is important, given that we have the leaders, the religions that we have? How?
Well, it's unfortunate where we have found ourselves as a people today. And I want to agree with you that the church, though has been doing its best has not been good enough. We need to do more, because I know there are some churches that will celebrate even if an armed robber comes to the church and offers whatever he has acquired illicitly. They will still celebrate such people. You have people who are in government, who are not doing well, come to church, we celebrate them. These are some of the ills that have been that have been affecting us as a people before. But I think we have got to the point now that, look, let's call a spade a spade. Let's speak the truth to ourselves. If you are not doing well, you are not doing well. And the truth must be told. So if we are able to do this, I'm sure people will have a rethink before they engage themselves in such evil again.
I know you're Bishop of the African Church. Could you give us an idea what that entails? Does that mean that there's a bigger group of where you come together and have conversations on maybe a way forward? Because sometimes it's always good. I know. I've spoken to some people from Orthodox churches, and they always say these Pentecostals are the problem. You're the ones that have bastardized Christianity. You just made it all about partying and celebration and everything. That it's really gone away from the real crux of what Christianity is about. So, as that body, you know, the African church, somebody at that high level, what do you think we can do to begin to change the message and to get people to have a weightier perspective to the things of God?
Yes, the African church is an Orthodox church, and it belongs to the Christian Association of Nigeria. It's also a block in Cannes. That is, it belongs to Christian Council of Nigeria, CCN. As a body, we come together to discuss and fashion out solutions to some of these problems that are staring us in the face from time to time. And we issue our statements, you know, to government and to whoever is concerned to know what to do at the appropriate time.
Well, let me pause you for a second. But do you think Cannes has been responsible? Because, I mean, you're saying, we've seen how Cannes has been very vicious in their utterance sometimes. Yes, I think they're calmer now. But there was a time that Cannes was in the papers everywhere. So do you think Cannes should have taken a more calmer perspective? Or do you think that sledgehammer approach was right at the time?
You see, maybe it's the way you are looking at it.
Okay.
It's not as if Cannes is not speaking out. Cannes is really speaking out. They are addressing a lot of issues in this country. And like I said before, it's one thing for you to say what should be said, and it's another thing for the person you're talking to accept what you're saying or to do accordingly. So that's just the issue. Cannes is doing its best.
So I want to bring the message of hope. We've said it several times that the only thing we have right now in this country is hope. And sometimes it's a bit worrisome when we go to the church and we look to our religious leaders and even they are lamenting. So it's like, well, where will we now get hope from? But you have a few minutes now. I would like you to inspire and give us a message of hope, something for us to... Hope. Yes.
Yes, I will urge all Nigerians, in spite of all that we are passing through at the moment, not to give up. God is the ultimate. He knows everything and he has answers to all our problems. Let's continue to cry unto him. The Israelites, faced similar problems, and they got out of it. There was a time they were in bondage, and God, you know, released them. God set them free. Right. So it's like we are in bondage in Nigeria now. Right. And if you cry unto God, truly, faithfully, He will set us free.
All right. Thank you very much. We have to run, unfortunately. There you have it. So let us cry unto the Lord. Yeah. He will set us free from this bondage. Yeah. That's all we can take. Right back.